PSLE is coming. Can you solve this 2013 PSLE math question? And the question goes, figure P is made up of 6 identical squares. 2 squares were removed from figure P to form figure Q. The parameter of figure P is 240 centimeters. What is the parameter of figure Q? So we know that parameter of figure P is 240 centimeters. If we were to zoom in, I'm going to highlight all of the lines, starting with the horizontal lines from left to right. So it will look something like this. Then I'm going to highlight the vertical lines, which is top to bottom. Now, if you have done this kind of question before, we can actually just adjust the lines over here to look like a familiar shape. So if you were to just make I will say, vertical lines from left to right and our horizontal lines to the bottom, then it will look like a familiar shape, which I think in this case, I'm assuming here, but it looks similar to a square or maybe a rectangle, but we need to double check first. So we also want to have one unit to be the side of the little square inside of this outlined shape. So it will look something like this. All right. So over here, we can actually just move this one unit outlines or sides over here to the outside of the shape. That's what we see over here. Then also vertically or top to bottom, it is also one unit because the little squares inside are squares. So that means we can just make the one unit to be the left and right. So the breadth of this shape, it looks like a square. So if you were to calculate the total number of units, it's actually 12 units. And since we know the parameter, it is 240. So that means one unit is equal to 20 centimeters. So now we know one unit is 20 centimeters. Then we can calculate the parameter of figure Q. So we're going to do the same thing to figure Q as well. I'm going to highlight all of the different lines and I'm just going to adjust them as what we see over here. Then from here, we can just put in the different one unit lines and then we're going to put it from left and right. And then we're also going to use it for our from left to right, all right, and put it at the top and bottom. So if we calculate the total number of units, it's actually 10 units, and 10 units is exactly the parameter of figure Q, which in this case is 200 centimeters. That's how you solve this PSLE math question.